BC. The Dodgers are off today. They need some time off to regroup. The Dodgers are 4-6 in their last 10 games and were shut out Wednesday by Washington. The Dodgers start a 3-game homestand Friday against the New York Mets. The Angels, a half game out of first place in the AL West, are at Tampa Bay today. The Angels are 9-9 under new manager Ron Washington. Washington is trying to lead the Angels to their first winning season since 2015. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley.
And I'm Compton Mayor Emma Sharif.
You have no doubt been hearing promos and expert conversations on our various weekday shows and downloading details at KBLA1580.com about our climate justice campaign, which is now in full effect.
The city of Compton is pleased to partner with KBLA Talk 1580 to celebrate Earth Day 2024 as we serve, share, and help our city shine.
And KBLA Talk 1580 is just as excited to join the city of Compton as we broadcast live and bring our KBLA delegation with us to help clean and beautify our community, and you are invited to join us.
Come meet us on Saturday, April the 20th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 212 West Cypress Street in Compton as we fan out to clean up our city.
The first 50 KBLA listeners to hit our website at KBLA1580.com will receive a free KBLA tee when you join us on Saturday morning, April 20th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 212 West Cypress Street in Compton. Now, no show, no shirt, but sign up at KBLA1580.com right now to help us clean up Compton as part of Earth Day 2024.
We will see you on Saturday, April the 20th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 212 West Cypress Street in the city of Compton to do our part for Earth Day 2024.
We are KBLA Talk 1580, caring about the climate, caring about the community, cleaning up Compton.
KBLA Talk 1580. And it is that time. It's time to get really, really real. We have a special guest live in the studio with us. He is I will say, one of my few Republican friends, even though he's not a MAGA guy.
And actually, I'm not even a Republican anymore.
What?
So we'll even talk
Breaking
about that.
news. Breaking news.
Couldn't go there anymore.
Yeah, he is a radio host in his own right, formerly. He's also an attorney, a television producer, podcaster, writer, and former judge on the L.A. County Superior Court in Los Angeles. Now the longtime host of America's Court with Judge Kevin Ross. Judge Kevin Ross, good morning.
All rise, all rise. I love that, Cheryl Lynn, to be real. That brings back memories.
That's I guess that's what we have in store for us this morning.
Well, they asked, your team said, okay, well, what music do you want? And when I used to do radio, terrestrial radio, my show was called Keeping It Real with Kevin Ross. And so that was the music that I played. And interestingly enough, one day I actually met Cheryl Lynn. And I'm such a big fan of hers. I love her music, and I was all excited. And I'm talking to her, and she's kind of just looking at me with this blank expression on her face. And I was like, you know, I really admire you as an artist. And she was like, wait, are you the judge that I watch on television? And I was like, you watch my show? She was like, oh my God, come here. She gives me this big hug, and I learn a lot from you, and thank you for what you do. And I was like, Cheryl Lynn knows who I am. I think I'm good now. And I've had that experience with so many other celebrities. So it's been nice to be on the air for the last 14 years, and always a pleasure to come into KBLA and just hang out.
Yeah, it's great to have you in. Now, we were joking before we started on the air because you were driving in, listening to the show. Normally, when you come on, you and I like to argue politics.
Yes.
Because you're definitely more moderate than I am. But you're saying you're not a Republican anymore?
So about a year and a half ago, I just was like, this craziness that I'm seeing with this Republican Party. From the time that I was 18, I remember, because I had to register for the draft. I went down to Morehouse College in Atlanta. Some of you who know my story know that I'm a Morehouse man, and I make it a point to say it. But I go down to Atlanta, and we register for classes, and we get all, I opened up a checking account and the whole bit, and they were like, well, we might as well go, and there's about 7 of us. We might as well just go down to the post office, register for the draft, and register to vote. And without even thinking about it, I just checked the box Democrat. I didn't question it. I didn't have a conversation with anybody. And so literally from the age of 18 until the age of 40, I was a Democrat and was involved in New Frontier Democratic Club, and politically I was aligned with other Democrats. And then at 40, I was just like, I don't like some things about the Democratic Party. I feel as though they take black people for granted. It was that year when John Kerry, was it? Did he run for president?
Yeah.
And I was hearing from people on the inside that they weren't really spending money on black media. They weren't hiring black staff, but they wanted this black support unconditionally.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about that, though, do you?
You remember when we called out all the California politicians for not spending
I'm
on
like,
black
come
radio.
on now, come on.
And some of them stepped up, like, don't
just, come into church on Sunday. And, speaking of church, so I was a member of First AME. I am currently not a member, but I had the chance to be there a couple of weeks ago. I believe Reverend Murray passed away on a Friday, and they had a service that Sunday a few days later, and I was at that service. And I met the Reverend Robert and Ann Shaw. It's a husband and wife, and they're co-pastors.
Right.
If you go to famechurchla.org, it gives you all the information about the viewing, the services taking place on Friday, what's taking place on Saturday. famechurchla.org to get all of that.
Okay, so you were listening on the way in.
I told you I was listening on the way in. Who doesn't listen to KBLA 1580 with Dominique DiPrima from 6 to 9? Come on now. Don't even have me sleeping on that. But yeah, I heard that, and I was like, I didn't even know anything about it. But I had just met Reverend Shaw when I went there on Sunday, and he acknowledged me and had me stand up and said, this is America's court judge. And I was like, that was so nice of him. And so far, he and his wife have only been there since January.
Yeah.
So they're new, and they've got some big shoes to fill with the Reverend Murray, because that man baptized both of my children when I was elected as a judge, and we had an opening ceremony in Inglewood. He opened the prayer to the program, and he was an advisor that I spoke to on a regular basis. Just a few months ago, even though he was ailing, he called me because he found out my mom had passed away.
Wow.
Back in September, and I talked to him, and I was
and
like...
he was 90 or 91 at that point.
Yeah, it was just like it wasn't even 6 months ago. Yeah. And I was just so touched that he took the time out of his schedule to comfort me, and it really meant a lot. So when he passed away, I found myself just going, here in the city of Los Angeles, for those of you who grew up here or been here for a while, we're losing these pillars, these giants, and it's a little sobering, to say the least.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is sobering, but it's time also going by. I mean, 91
yes.
is a rich and full life.
LA
we
is
should
just
all
a
be
different
so blessed.
place, so I mean, I remember growing up here, and in high school, they would have parties that were mostly for black high school and college-age kids at the Bonaventure and the Biltmore, and it was, for those of you, I'm showing my age, but they had something called Z Cars Productions, and they had Uncle Jam's Army Productions. Do you remember that?
Now remember, I didn't grow up in L.A.
I know that, but but
I mean Uncle Jam's Army. Everyone knows.
But
about
you know,
Uncle
they
Jam's
would be
Army.
parties at the convention center, and it would be thousands of people, black folks, and I'm like, you don't really see us like that anymore. You see us in Ladera and Baldwin Hills and, you know, around this neighborhood.
Well, a lot of people have gone out
Inglewood.
in the Inland Empire.
Yes.
You know,
I know people that are out in Lancaster and Palmdale.
Apple Valley, looking for affordable homes with space and better schools. And I don't, you know, I wish y'all would stop doing that. But I've been admonished that I need to stop saying that because people have a right to live where they want.
Well, and plus, any home in the Lamert Park area is going for 7 figures. It's at least, you know, you're looking at $1 million homes that used to be $300-400. My first house in Gardena, and this was in 2004 maybe. It was a brand new house for $219,000.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen now.
You know,
nowhere.
that exact house that because we have since moved, but that exact house now is at $980,000.
Wow.
And it's not even that big of a house, but it was new, and it was in the South Bay, which is Torrance adjacent. And it's just like, where y'all going to buy these homes at? That's what I want to know.
Apple Valley, Palmdale, Antelope Valley. But, you know, I'm going to keep saying it because I just wish we can keep our political power a little bit more concentrated.
It's definitely being watered down.
Yeah.
It's definitely being, and I think it's also an opportunity for us to represent areas that aren't necessarily predominantly black. You know, whether we're talking Culver City or we're talking some parts of Pasadena.
When you say represent, do you mean at political representation?
Yeah, political representation.
All right.
Because economically, from a business standpoint, you can have your operations anywhere.
You can tell we're friends because we just be all over the map
We
talking
are
about
all
this,
over
talking
the-
about that.
because
We
I'm
are
so
going to talk
excited
about
about being
HBCUs.
here. And
I want to
yes.
talk about that because you graduated from one, but you didn't finish your story about. Okay, so you registered as a Democrat, then you realized that you thought Dems were taking us for granted. You went Republican, and now you're independent.
So what ended up happening
are you back
was
to the
from
Democratic
age
Party?
40 to 60 now, and I wear it proudly. Somebody said, "Hey, old man," and I said, "Yeah, I am old." And they were like, "What are you, about 50?" And I was like, "I'm 60." And the rest of them was like, "You look pretty good for 60." I'm like, "That's right, because you know, look like you
The goal is to look good for any age.
Exactly, and you are preserving yourself well, young
Thank
lady.
you, sir. Well, you know that's Geminis. We're you know.
I know we got birthdays coming
We're
up.
facetious, like. I mean,
But the
yeah.
bottom line is, from
Like
age
that.
40 till about age 57, 58, I was hanging, and then Trump came in. And even though I was having issues with other Republicans and so forth, that whole Trump thing, I was like, no.
See, I had described you as a never Trump Republican, but now
Never
you're
Trump.
an independent.
I am independent now.
I knew he wasn't going back to Dem.
I wasn't, only because at this point it's like there are aspects of the Republican platform, not the extremism, not, I think people should have the right to choose. Women should have autonomy over their bodies. They're just, there's these dog whistle racists, the whole thing about schools not teaching history because it makes white kids. I'm like, and all of it's a distraction, because at the end of the day, it's really about the folks who have money sort of getting their way with the people that they want in positions, and then placating the masses by these silly things that don't really mean anything, but it makes people feel like, oh, this person's speaking on my behalf. Donald Trump does not care about the average white Republican Southern voter, because that's just not even, he wants to be in New York, and he wants the people in New York to love him, and he's ticked off that that's not happening.
Mar-a-Lago, right?
But even that, it's only because New York wasn't giving him the love that he was getting.
That's true, and honestly, that's that's playing out in this trial. I know we were not going to talk about that, but it's playing out in this trial by him complaining about the venue, and that he can't get good jurors because New York doesn't.
Cry me a river. I'm so done, because when I was a judge here in L.A. and I was downtown and I did jury trials, I was a prosecutor, I conducted trials, and then I oversaw them as a judge. And the BS that he's getting away with, man, I'm like, what brother could get away with doing what we're seeing here? This is ridiculous.
I mean, that's what I said earlier today. If when you talk smack about the judge, when you disparage witnesses and lawyers, like, not just a brother, regular white people can't get away with that, right? You'd be in contempt of court. You'd be sanctioned by the judge, right?
Well, you certainly could be held in contempt, and oftentimes judges like to use that as a last resort. Just the whole idea, though, that the juror, I think there's one and maybe now a second one, they're saying, you know what, check please, I'm out. I'm out because I don't want to deal with this. And that's the whole point. It's like delay. Let's get to November. But I believe that the American public, as much as I'm not in either of the mainstream parties, I'm going to go with Biden because at least, I was stressed the whole time Trump was president. I was like constantly watching what is he doing now? What did he say? What's happening? I'm like, no bueno.
We're talking with Judge Kevin Ross, and there's a movement right now in this post-affirmative action world. Yes, post-affirmative action world. Some folks are coming for HBCUs. On the other hand, we've seen some great steps and strides for historically black colleges and universities. We'll look at that when we come forward with Judge Kevin Ross, a Morehouse man, on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Reverend Gerald, host of Urban Family Focus here on KBLA Talk 1580 on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. In an effort to help reduce the impact of hypertension in our community, Providence is offering free hypertension assessments. The first 30 people to visit KBLA1580.com and use the link or QR code to register will receive 2 tickets to the Amazing Grace Conservatory presentation of Aladdin, a whole new world for real, at the Crenshaw Performing Arts Center, May 25th and 26th. Go to KBLA1580.com right now and be one of the first 30 to register for your hypertension screening and receive 2 tickets to Aladdin, compliments of Providence and KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
It's time for California Community College's Black Student Success Week. This week-long event, held April 22nd through the 26th, is an opportunity to focus on innovative approaches to ensuring Black and African American students succeed in their educational pursuits. Black Student Success Week 2024, building a better future together. The urgency is now. For more information, visit blackstudentsuccess.com. That's blkstudentsuccess.com.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children. Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by Advocacy.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And my friend Kevin Ross is here. Yeah, we're unlikely friends, but we're both Geminis. We're both talkers, and we're both media people. But I didn't even know, as much as we talk, I did not know that you were not a Republican anymore. How did I miss that?
You know, life happens, things change, we evolve, we have different perspectives, we grow, we go deeper. And, you know, for me, especially even like the last year or so, I had really been sort of below the radar. And for those of you who watch America's Court with Judge Ross on KCAL 9, now we're at 1 p.m. Thank you. Starting in September, I will be going into season 15. So I feel,
that's congratulations.
As to your words, blessed and highly favored, because most people in television don't get that sort of longevity. And I worked with my frat brother, my Kappa brother, Tavis Smiley. I'm a black-owned company in the form of Byron Allen, and so it's been a great ride. But yeah, when my mom passed away, and I kind of went through this period of, you know what, let me sort of be chilled for a minute, and
and condolences.
And thank you for that. That was tough. And I know you you and I've talked about that off the air in terms of losing parents and what that means, and when you've got kids and they're getting older and you're dealing with their issues and challenges, it's life sort of starts life, and then you go, whoa, I wasn't expecting all this, you know?
Right.
But I'm fortunate and pleased to be here with you today, and let's talk about some HBCU news.
Yeah, I think we should start when he's trying to turn my show into a sports show, which is great because we don't talk enough about sports. Miles, you might have to jump on the mic and opine since you're well-versed on sports. But let's start with some good news about HBCUs.
Yes.
Some triumphs. I mean, aside from the fact that we have a vice president and a vice presidential candidate that are HBCU grads.
In fact, Melina also went to Howard, right?
She did.
And she's an AKA, isn't she?
Yes, she is an AKA.
So we got two Howard AKAs running. I mean, come on, who'd have thunk it?
But as she famously said, as Dr. Melina Abdullah famously said at the LA Sentinel Shindig honoring women, that's where the similarities end.
But hey, it's just fascinating to me to see, the show A Different World, which I think that came out, some 35 years ago. And it was, at the time, me being I think I was in my late 20s, and watching that show, I was like, I love the fact that this show, based on this fictitious campus, Helmed in Virginia, is showing what we do and why black colleges are such a value in our Americana of life, and to see that 35 years later, the commercial where the Hillman students now, in one scene, and then in the next scene you see them talking to Kamala Harris, and they're bridging that gap, and they're trying to get more scholarships and more awareness of black colleges. I love to see that sort of message, because back in the day that we thought we could have a black president, period, but then also to have one from an HBCU like Howard. I mean, that's amazing.
Right. So what is this A Different World tour thing that's happening?
So they're celebrating the 35th year of the show being in existence.
35 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so the cast has reunited on a tour to promote enrollment and raise funding for current and future students. And it's just, you've seen them all over the place. They started in Atlanta with Clark Atlanta University, Spelman College, Morehouse, and Morris Brown. And they've just been going across the country promoting college awareness. And I would dare say what's most important about that, and this is something just going across the board, and you've heard me talk about it before, we don't have men going to college. We don't have black men going to college.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're seeing is black women are thriving in college. Black men's enrollment is declining. Right?
Oh, no. I mean, when I tell you, what did I read somewhere that I want to make sure I get this information right. Whether it's sociology at Claflin University or media law at North Carolina Central University, there's sometimes few to no men in these classes. When you look at the marching band of a Howard University.
It's like a third, 1/3 men to 2/3 women or something like that.
One in 3 HBCU students are men.
Wow.
And
so, yeah.
At Xavier, the freshman dorm, they have a male freshman dorm. There's one, and it's very, very small. And then the other 2 big dorms, it's all women. And what we're seeing is areas like medicine and law and teaching and engineers and judges, we're seeing women just really stepping into their own. And yet you're not seeing the men stepping up. And I'm like, okay, then maybe every male is not going to go to college. But what are they doing? I mean, because even on the community college level, just to get a trade, we're not seeing black men finishing, even getting their AAs. And I have someone that I know who works at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And over at Cal State Dominguez Hills, their numbers are declining, and they can attribute it directly to the black male students either not coming or not finishing. So it's a problem, but to have these black colleges and you have these campuses, and this is the time when you're dating and you're sort of interacting with people that you may be interested in, and you got all these women, but you don't have the men, and then they're like, "Oh, I can't find a husband." So it's something that I don't know what we're going to do as a society. I don't know if we need to start having these black colleges do online completion courses for people who are either incarcerated or who can't afford to just put work at the back burner. I don't know.
I mean, we got a minute here till news, traffic, and sports, but and maybe you can address this on the other side. But housing has to play a role in this, because housing, the number of unhoused people that are black and men is disproportionately huge. We know that
as opposed to women.
Yeah.
And what do you think that's the cause of? And I know you said we're going to go
I mean,
on the
when
other side.
you think about, discrimination in employment, black men are discriminated against more than women. I don't know why, but I do know that has to be impacting college enrollment, because student housing has become more than just a casual conversation.
Right.
Student homelessness is now a huge issue.
They're sleeping in their cars,
right,
trying to go to class.
And and we've seen some of, at least in the West Coast, colleges cracking down on students sleeping in the parking lot in their cars, which means that has become a determining factor in whether folks can afford to go to school.
Well, I would certainly love to hear what the audience has to say. What are you all thinking? Where are black men finding the employment? Because they're certainly not going to colleges, and definitely not black colleges to the extent they used to be. But we do have some good news about HBCUs and men, and we'll talk about that on the other side, right?
KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The University of Michigan's Poverty Solutions is releasing a report that shows home values in Detroit have risen by $3.9 billion since the city declared municipal bankruptcy. The report also shows that black homeowners saw their housing wealth increase by $2.8 billion. University professor Jeffrey D. Mornoff says from their findings, wealth has increased a lot and fairly equitably. Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan says Detroiters who stayed in the city are seeing benefits in the form of housing wealth. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's proposed plan to borrow over $1 million to pay for housing and other development has hit a roadblock. The black mayor's allies delayed a full city council vote on the measure. Mayor Johnson's goal is to borrow $250 million a year through 2028 to fund efforts to expand affordable housing and boost small businesses and nonprofits. A vote now could be held as soon as Friday. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp. How does 3 months of free electricity and a lifetime of energy savings sound? Well, It's yours when you go solar with Sunlux. Learn more at sunlux.com, sunlux.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Lakers coach Darvin Ham is facing his most difficult challenge since he was hired by the franchise in 2022. Ham is trying to come up with a game plan that will help the Lakers beat the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets for the first time in almost 2 years. The Lakers have not beaten the Nuggets since December 16, 2022. Game 1 of the Lakers' first-round matchup with the Nuggets is Saturday at 5:30 on ABC. The Dodgers are off today. They need some time off to regroup. The Dodgers are 4-6 in their last 10 games and were shut out Wednesday by Washington. The Dodgers start a 3-game homestand Friday against the New York Mets. The Angels, a half game out of first place in the AL West, are at Tampa Bay today. The Angels are 9-9 under new manager Ron Washington. Washington is trying to lead the Angels to their first winning season since 2015. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising at KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got your black.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
And Judge Kevin Ross is here. America's Court on KCAL 9 locally at 1 p.m. But you can check local listings. I know the KBLA delegation is nationwide, and it's in every market. You just have to see where it's syndicated.
You just have to. And you can even catch us on YouTube. We're on the Griot. We're at Justice Central, the cable networks. We're everywhere. So make sure you stop in and say hi sometime.
Judge Ross, I know you put your money where your mouth is. You're always doing Black college fairs. You're a member of a fraternity that,
yes.
and another organization, I think.
I'm a member of a couple of them, and thank you for reminding me that I actually have an event coming up in September where, speaking of young black men, the Kappas are going to be putting on a golf tournament, celebrity golf tournament, and to raise scholarships, because oftentimes, you and I were just talking off the air, when people are going to college, the biggest impediment is money.
Yeah.
So we want to put our money where our mouth is and make sure that we're funding high school seniors who are starting off in college and giving them as much as $5,000 as a means of getting started. And so we're going to do this golf tournament, and I'll be probably coming back because it's in September.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that. And I'm a member of this organization, HBCU in LA. I don't just talk about this stuff. I'm passionate about it. HBCU in LA, what they do is that people who are interested in entertainment jobs who go to HBCUs, we now can connect them with the Shonda Rhimes production company, the ABCs, the Warner Brothers, the Paramounts. We've been putting them in positions as agents, as writers, as producers, and they've been getting these internships, and several now of these students who are now graduates are working in these various entertainment positions. And so fortunately, Mayor Karen Bass just said when the students come here in May for the summer, she's going to be a part of the welcoming. So I'm just really excited to see that there's opportunities for our black college students.
Man, there's so much going on in this chat. Yeah, you do have to come back. They have questions about cases and all kinds of things in the chat. And I don't know if you want to do all that, because we are trying to get through these HBCU stories. But I didn't realize, and I'm looking at campuscurrent.com, I didn't realize till you said it, black male enrollment, 14% drop over the past decade. That is perilous.
And at a time where black college enrollment is rising. I want to say that since 2015 or 16, that Howard University has had an increase in enrollment of 3,000 students, and it's all women. And I'm sitting there going, I'm hearing women in our age, well, I'll speak for me, in my age range.
Your girlfriends. I don't mean girlfriends. Like
well, that's a whole
area
other story.
codes. I'm not talking about that.
But the bottom line is, and when I hear people saying, do you know of anyone that my daughter can meet in their 20s? See, now it's becoming my friends' daughters. They can't find guys that are of the caliber that they want. And I've heard this argument before about, well, what are they looking for? Maybe the expectations are too high. But if you've gone to a college and med school or grad, you want at least someone, ideally, that's somewhere around the area of your intellect. I don't know.
Right.
What
And
do
to
you
be
think?
clear, no one's saying black women shouldn't go to college. What we need is more opportunities for black men to do so and to thrive, to stay and do, and be supported while they're there.
Although this is one story. Can I just talk about Byron Scott?
Let's do it.
So Byron Scott, apparently watching all this March Madness with basketball, former NBA star and actually basketball coach for a number of years, he's like, I want to go back to being a coach for college, and I'm even willing to go to an HBCU.
Why is it even willing to go to an HBCU?
Because there is
that's my top priority. Let me go to an HBCU.
Well, let's think about it. Byron Scott is 63. He lives here in LA.
Right. Oh, so he'd have to move.
He'd have to move.
Yeah.
And most black colleges are in the South.
Yeah.
And so, one, you got to be like, okay, am I willing to deal with the politics of that particular area?
Yeah.
And the cost, black
Does
colleges.
Deion Sanders have anything to do with that? Like with people?
I hope so.
I think I should go coach at an HBCU too.
Listen, within the NFL, there's been all this conversation about the lack of black coaches. You've got all these black coaches in the NBA. You've got all these black guys. I think 70% of NFL players are black. And yet there were only a handful of black coaches, and now we're moving up to, I think it's going to be 9 head coaches for the 24 season, men of color.
Pretty good, yeah.
And not all of them black, but
not all of them black.
men of
We'd
color.
like to see more black
but
people.
But Atlanta Falcons
league.
now have a black coach, and the New England Patriots now have a black coach. And I'm sitting there going, it's about time. But I dare say that Deion's saying, hey, I'll go to a black college. I'll kill it, and I may end up in the NFL coaching.
Right.
But some of these black coaches who were saying, I can't get anywhere in this NFL league, maybe they go to a black college.
And how cool is that
themselves.
for HBCU students to have a former Lakers coach?
That's what I'm saying.
Running things.
And I'm telling you, Morehouse, as much as I love my school, I was going to say something else. We are horrible in sports. And I'm like, Byron, you can make Atlanta work, man. So
okay.
I'm excited about the possibility of Byron Scott being at HBCU.
And I know you're also excited about Davius Richard.
Yes, from North Carolina Central University. He's looking at getting a shot at the NFL as a quarterback. There has not been a quarterback from an HBCU in the NFL since 2006.
That's crazy.
And it used to be back in the day. I mean, like schools like Grambling, and so, I mean, they were producing all of these great NFL players and breaking records and Hall of Famers.
I mean, is it almost like a chicken and an egg thing where it's like you wish more black talent would go to HBCUs to buoy those HBCUs, but then they don't because they're not getting the looks from the major leagues?
They're not getting the licks when they go to the HBCU. And the reality is, I mean, you look at a school like Tennessee State University, and that school has been in the news because the Republican governor, Bill Lee, dissolved the board of trustees at Tennessee State. And when there was an independent study done, what they found was that, and I want to make sure I get the number right.
And this, I think, is part of a coming wave of attacks on HBCUs. They're already signaling it. Yeah, in the wake of affirmative action dead in this country. DEI under attack, and HBCUs will be next because we can't have nice things.
Wait, but see, the thing about Tennessee State is that it's the only black college in the entire state. And an independent study found that the school has been underfunded by $2 billion. So how can you sit there and say, oh, you guys have had mismanagement, you've had this, you've had that. And when you compare with the other schools in Tennessee, it's just so woefully underfunded. It's ridiculous. And so I'm hoping that this attention that we're seeing at HBC, they're having a moment right now. If we could just get the men to enroll, to go, to finish, but it's
Truemonger something, I can't read their name there, says people still supporting the NFL. SMDH. Yeah, a lot of people still watch pro football. It has its issues, but people still
I have been
love it.
very vocal about, I did a podcast about this whole thing with the racism in the NFL. And yet, I get sucked in. I start watching, especially towards the end and playoffs.
I mean, it's amazing talent. There's amazing energy. I have issues with the, lack of black coaches, the treatment of women, the way that the players are dealt with in terms of domestic violence and all that stuff. Where's the training? Where's the support? Yeah. You're teaching these guys to be violent. Who's teaching them how to handle things in their personal life?
Like their money being broke after 5 years from retiring from the NFL, and they're still in their 20s.
But Jay-Z's going to fix all that, right?
No. Is he? Because I know Jay-Z's taking care of Jay-Z, but I don't know if he's actually taking care of anybody else. But we've spent some time talking about sports from a male standpoint. How about Angel Jackson?
Okay.
So Angel Jackson, we've been hearing about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark with the NFL. But this young lady,
WNBA,
Angel Jackson, who went to Jackson State, was one of the HBCU individuals who was drafted by the Las Vegas Aces. And this is the second Jackson State University women's basketball player with the same coach. And that coach's name is Tamikia Reed. She's now had 2 of her players into the WNBA. And
you'll see players flocking to that program probably, right?
Absolutely, because here's the thing. Since the WNBA has been in existence, there's only been 7 women who went to HBCUs that have played in the league.
Wow, that's amazing.
So there's something going on right now.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense.
But I'm saying in a good way, there's something going on right now. I don't know if it's social media. I don't know if there's just an awareness, because for every action, there's a reaction. And with everything that's going on with diversity being under attack, it almost feels as though it's helping the HBCU cause.
Yeah, and I also think like Kamala Harris and Deion Sanders sort of make people take a second or third look.
Well, even Raphael Warnock, who's the senator from Georgia, Morehouse man. I mean, there's so many people who are not only
to get that Morehouse
in every chance I get, but I'm saying that it used to be, and you said even a HBCU, there was sort of this stigma. It used to be, and now people are proudly saying,
now you can't get into Howard.
For real, though.
Yeah, no, I'm not playing.
No, I mean, it's like you got to have like at least a 3.5 GPA to even be strongly considered as a candidate.
Continuing our conversation with America's Court Judge Kevin Ross. Watch him on KCAL 9 at 1 o'clock or wherever you are. Check local listings. This is unapologetically outspoken, unapologetically black, and unapologetically progressive. The KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste, so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Imagine with me here for a minute the most beautiful panoramic setting. Maybe it's an endless ocean, waves crashing on a beach, or a crystal clear mountain lake, peaceful and quiet. Or maybe it's just little kids playing in the park down the street. Wherever your imagination takes you, now imagine right smack in the middle of this perfect picture, a piece of litter. Just one piece right there in the middle of it all. Doesn't exactly fit, does it? In fact, even though it's just one piece, now it's all you can see. That one piece ruins everything. And that's the thing about litter. It doesn't take much to ruin everything. One thing's for sure, it simply does not belong anywhere in California. So here's the good news. If we work together, we will change it. We don't have to let litter, even just one piece, ruin your perfect picture. Not anymore, not ever again. Clean California, zero litter is the goal. Brought to you by Caltrans and CleanCA.com.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
It's time for California Community College's Black Student Success Week. This week-long event, held April 22nd through the 26th, is an opportunity to focus on innovative approaches to ensuring Black and African American students succeed in their educational pursuits. Black Student Success Week 2024, building a better future together. The urgency is now. For more information, visit blackstudentsuccess.com. That's blkstudentsuccess.com.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at LADWP.com/EV. That's LADWP.com/EV.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Talking with Judge Kevin Ross of America's Court on KCAL 9 locally and wherever it's airing in your market. And we've been talking HBCU, some good news, some great news, and some challenging news. And I think we are going to have to be vigilant about these attacks on HBCUs. I see that coming down the pipeline. But I did want to give some love to Morgan Price, making history as the first HBCU gymnast to win the national title ever. She's 18 years old, and I think Black women are really coming on strong in gymnastics.
Black women are just coming on strong, period. Watching the I had never, I'm going to be, keep it 100. I had never watched a WNBA March Madness final I'm talking even at the 16-team level. And I literally was rushing home, and I don't have a daughter, but I was like, these women are they were bawling, and I was so entertained by watching these women, and I said, but for every action, there's a reaction.
Well, what do you think of the pay equity conversation? We haven't really talked about it on the show because I don't feel like I'm an expert, but a lot of people were mad.
You don't have to be an expert. You have an opinion. What do you think?
I mean, obviously, I think women should, be remunerated well. I know that the WNBA doesn't generate the kind of revenue that the NBA does, and it's a growing league. But I think when we saw what happened with Brittany Griner, and it outlines how people have to go out of the country to make a living. I wish there were ways that we could remunerate them better.
But you know what? I will say this. There is something to be said for women valuing female athletes, because oftentimes Michael Jordan right now has a net worth of something like $3.5 billion.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods is a billionaire. LeBron.
But those were the exceptions.
No, but here's my point. That money didn't all come from their sport.
Yeah.
It came from endorsements. It came from investments. It came from them leveraging their
branding. Yeah, but I mean,
and right now,
we can't all be Michael Jordan.
No, but what I'm saying right now, Caitlin Clark, when I saw that she's over a 4-year period, it's going to be something like $338,000 starting at 76.
She make more money as an LAPD officer.
But how much money can she make promoting Dove?
Yeah, I mean, she will.
Pantene,
absolutely. Yeah, she will.
Maybelline, but women's Nike sports. So if anything, I think there's an opportunity, because unless we see it uptick substantially with the crowds, I mean, you look at the crowd size, no one's there.
I think the excitement that you're talking about is going to change that.
I felt it.
Yeah, I think it is shifting. Let's squeeze in Mike from LA real quick here before we run out of time. Hi, Mike.
Good morning, Mike.
How you doing, Dominique? How you doing, Judge Ross?
Blessed and highly favored, as Dominique would say. What's going on, man?
Great. I know you were talking about the difference in we're talking about why black men aren't getting hired on these jobs, and the black men not going to college and stuff. But I know I sound like a broken record, Dominique, but they took the trades out of schools.
Okay, let's have him address that, because I already know where he's going with it.
So wait, let's start with the first thing you said. You said they're taking trades
out of school,
out of high schools.
When we say, he's talking about high school. When we have this conversation repeatedly, Mike thinks the solution is to put vocational training back in high school.
You don't agree?
I mean, I think there's a movement to do that. I think that's part of the solution.
I would dare say,
and those resources are available now in community colleges. Most people just don't know it.
Because if that's the point that you're making, Mike, I can definitely co-sign on that, because I remember I went to Henry Clay Junior High School, and then I went to Gardena High School, and there was wood shop, and there was plastics.
But you went to law school.
No, but what I'm saying is I was exposed to the possibility of pursuing those particular fields of work. And my father, who did not go to college, but he was good at construction and building things, and he knew how to put floors in and roofs, and then he started buying real estate. So I can appreciate somebody who doesn't necessarily go to college. The issue is, but what I'm seeing is just brothers not being motivated. There's this level of anxiety, depression, questioning where they fit in to the overall scheme of things. And I'm hearing it from women when they talk about what's going on with guys. And I think so much of a man's self-worth is based on what he does. And I just don't think we have enough men that are actually doing things that they can get excited about, that they can have ownership into. And if it's vocational training, then let's do it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not against it. I like I said, I believe there's a movement for that. I know there is places like the Community Coalition and others that are working on that. I also think there's an issue of retention, which is how men are treated and what black men are treated and what resources are available to them when they get to college and if they're able to stay there.
Yeah.
That's where reparations
Some of it,
in.
though, is, and I may get in trouble for saying this, but I am a strong believer in this idea that black folks, we raise our daughters, we baby our sons. I have seen it over and over.
Okay, that's like a preview of coming attractions, because we're going to do that show. Do black folks raise their daughters and baby their sons? That's a great show, and I can tell we're going to be a little bit at odds, which is always fun.
No, not you and I at odds. Oh, my God.
Paul Lee in the chat says, Caitlin Clark rumored to be in an 8-figure endorsement deal with Nike right now. True, but we can't all be Caitlin Clark. They should have a base salary that is
gotta say, though,
sustainable. You got to be able to pay people more than an entry-level cop.
I don't know how folks are going to take this, but I know other folks are thinking it. There is something to be said for an amazing white, all-American female athlete doing what she did, because she's got skills, no doubt. But I'm just thinking that this is going to open up the gates for sisters to also get a little piece of that. So I'm cautiously optimistic.
I think that's right. We got to go. It's time for Tavis Smiley. We could talk through his whole show. I know we could. Judge Kevin Ross, thank you so much for being
always
with me
a pleasure
today. It is always fun. America's Court with Judge Ross.tv. I'm Dominique DiPrima. History is now, and we are making it together. See you tomorrow for Freedman Fridays. Till then, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The University of Michigan's Poverty Solutions is releasing a report that shows home values in Detroit have risen by $3.9 billion since the city declared municipal bankruptcy. The report also shows that black homeowners delayed a full city council vote on the measure. Mayor Johnson's goal